For the last time, where did your ship disappear to for so long? What were you up to? For the last time.
Neither the station nor the planet says I was down there, so your instruments must have glitched. I'm leaving your stupid empire.
Immediately.
Did Wormhole Swayze cut my hair? Computer, warp us away from Nechosaurus while I present to Noah in the next episode. The Big Goodbye. We start with Riker dropping his log. They're about to make contact with a reclusive insect-like race called the Harada. They're incredibly anal over protocol and demand a punctual greeting from the captain in perfect dialect of their language. Anything less would be an offense. So Troy is coaching Picard. He's struggling to memorize his greeting, which, as stated, has to be perfect. The inverted T means hold the Z, unless followed by 3 wavy lines, in which the Z becomes a B. Picard is frustrated. And why are they teaching him to read the language to perfectly speak it? He should be repeatedly practicing it phonetically. Who cares if he can read it? I bet Gold Press Latinum he doesn't even read the speech later, just booms it out like some Shakespearean actor. Troy tells Picard to give his mind a break. The holodecks have been upgraded, so hit it up. Picard smiles. Dixon Hill. And Troy says, installed and waiting. Picard then goes to the holodeck and tells it, San Francisco, Earth, 1941 AD. File, Dixon Hill, Private Detective. Why does it operate like that? Can I say the moon, 1891, file, Robin Hood, medieval archer, and just fuck up the whole system? Picard walks through the doors and enters the crusty, greasy world of the noir detective, Dixon Hill. When he enters his office, his secretary laughs at his bellhop outfit, asking if he lost a bet, and Picard's like, oh yeah, the uniform. This is brilliant. The captain never has time for himself and would likely forget about having to change. She tells him that a Detective Bell was there nosing around. She digs at his clothes again and then says there's a woman named Bradley in his office. Nice legs. And Picard looks down at his own pair while the joke sails over. The secretary leaves, and Picard takes in the settings. He enters his office, and we see a pair of legs. Then the woman they're attached to, as Picard, as Hill, volleys. I lost a bet. Bradley rises and quips, at least he's ready for Halloween, which confuses Picard. And for real, we know about Roman holidays from 2,000 years ago, and y'all haven't even heard of Halloween in 300 years? A little hard to believe. She drags her cigarette and says she needs his help. Someone's trying to kill her. And we cut to the epic titles. When we come back, Picard is delighted to be in one of his childhood stories, but the story rolls on. Bradley says she doesn't know who's trying to kill her, but offers the name Cyrus Redblock. Hill states his fee of $20 a day, plus expenses, and she gives him a kiss as a signing bonus. For the tip, tells him to wear a suit next time. She leaves. Picard looks out his poorly composited window and asks for the exit, which opens in the back of his office when before it was way up at the front of the secretary's entrance. I'm sure it moves with him, but that much, when he travels so few steps, makes me feel like he'd just be running into walls. Picard leaves, but doesn't end the program, and a man enters his office to find no one after hearing Picard's voice. Out on the decks of the Enterprise, Picard still has the lipstick on his lips. Like Wesley dripping in the pilot episode outside the holodeck, I don't understand how it's still being emitted. Or is the holodeck a giant replicator and you could take anything and anyone out of it? That has to be it. Otherwise, how does he have lipstick? Or is this just a goof for a half-assed attempt at humor? Picard saves the holodeck and turns it off from outside. In Code of Honor, Yar just controlled everything by voice from inside instead of at this panel. Oh well, I'm sure nothing will come of it. In the observation lounge, Picard is gushing about his adventure. The way that one friend does when they find a band 10 years after everyone else. He wows them with words like automobile, city block, and teenage mating rituals, which particularly excites Wesley. The doctor wipes the lipstick away, and Riker looks at Picard like, my mans. Picard wants to go back. He wants to dress the part, and he wants company. He invites the doctor, and she would be delighted to. She looks so happy to have some time with the captain in the holodeck. 'Bout to get freaky. But then the captain says, invite that history buff guy, Wayland. I bet he knows more about this than me. Crusher looks crushed, absolutely deflated. Picard is high on his experience and even brags about his kiss, which also irks the doctor. But he gets the point, and they focus on the Harada. Riker says the Harada meeting is very important because slips in the greeting on previous attempts caused a 20-year grudge before the Federation could even try again. Data also implies something nasty happened to the last captain who fucked up. Data and Geordi walk the decks, and Data has nipples. Huh. Fair enough. Geordi gets Data interested in Dixon Hill, and Data goes to download a lot of it into his brain. The computer says the first story came out in 1934, but the screen says 1946. The second in 1936 with the screen date of 1943? Back with Picard, properly trench-coated and fedoraed. He's joined by Wayland when Data enters, dressed to the nines and asking to join. Data being now well-versed in the text. Crusher is to be along later. They enter Old San Fran on the streets this time. The studio lot feel actually helps the simulation feel of the scene. The wardrobe is on point. The cars look amazing. And holy shit! Is that Dick Miller playing a paper vendor? The vendor gives Dix a pape, and Dix flounders on the word DiMaggio, earning him a nonplussed look from the vendor. Data goes off on DiMaggio's nicknames, and Wayland clarifies, baseball, sir. Data then says that DiMaggio's shriek will be ended, by whom, and when it's broken, all of which sounds like loony talk to the vendor, who says Data must not be from around here. Dix says he's from South America, and the vendor says, yeah, he's got a nice tan. In the pape, Dix learns Mrs. Bradley was murdered. Good thing he got that kiss and retainer. Dix is shook. He left this woman to be murdered, but Wayland smiles. Captain, she's a page from a book. That's all she ever was. Just then, two guys walk up saying, look what the cat dragged in. Another idiom that confuses Data. But didn't he well verse himself in this era and text? The guys ask Data where he's from, and Dick Miller quips, South America. Can't you tell? Dick Miller is so great. The men are cops. The previously mentioned Detective Bell, who seems to have it out for Dix, and his partner, who seems to be friends with Dix. Bell says Dix's goose is cooked after Bradley's death, and asks for his alibi for last night, which Picard can't give as he was in a ship meeting. Should have paused the program. Dix is being taken downtown for the murder of Jessica Bradley. On what grounds, you may ask? Because they found his business card on her. Case closed, boys. That's a smoking gun. Meanwhile, the ship is probed by some crazy long-range probe that shakes the whole ship and short-circuits the holodeck panel. And the door again opens at the original office spot. Very confusing. The Harada have also sent a subspace communique, which Riker offensively answers. The Harada demand the captain and note their growing impatience. Geordi goes off to find the captain, and we also see Crusher entering the holodeck, though it takes a few tries with the door glitching out. Inside the story, she struggles in her heels, but makes it to the police station, running into Data and Wayland. They explain Picard is being interrogated, and she wants to burst in. Why aren't they being interrogated? Why should he be the only one having the time of his life? She also gets modest and jealous over the bust of a hologram. Meanwhile, Dix is on ice. He's getting grilled. Bell is irate and wants to know where Dix was last night, but Picard just thinks all of this is great. But outside, Geordi can't access the program. He can't communicate with them inside, and he can't open the door. Picard is stuck in there. Looks like I've gone far enough for them to leave me alone. Computer? Where should I get kicked out of next?
Trill is not far from here.
What's there?
Symbiotic worms that live in the bodies of the Trill. And some of the best bars in the quadrant.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Let's go. When we come back, Riker goes to help Geordi. And of course Wesley knows everything you can about the holodeck specs, so bring him too. Insufferable know-it-all. Thankfully, we get back to Dix. He no longer finds the interrogation amusing, though, and Bell gets physical. But screw Dixon Hill. Picard really needs to get out of here. In the lobby, Crusher learns what a compact is by Monkey See, Monkey Do. She's also attracted the attention of the desk cop. He offers an almost crude line and a stick of gum. Now that's some game. He says she's a good-looking broad. She asks if that's good, and he says, it ain't bad. He tries to invite her to a dance while she immediately swallows her gum. What, y'all don't know what gum is anymore either? Back with Riker, who joins Geordi to help out like my dad does, by asking what was already done to fruitless results and then repeatedly just trying that thing again, trying the communication buzzer over and over while Wes gets to real troubleshooting. Inside with Dix, they're cutting him loose, but Bell says don't leave town. Picard quips that if he tries to leave town, the town leaves with him, but that has already been proven false, at least for this episode's narrative. McNary, the friendly cop, warns Dix about his ties with Red Block, then gives Dix a cigarette, which Picard stomps out after one unpleasant puff. In the lobby, Picard is taken aback by Crusher. The music swells, and they get close. I feel like they're really going to push this relationship a lot moving forward. She asks to see his office, and he gets the hint this time, but the sidekicks don't and ask to join, which again rises disappointment on Crusher's face. This girl is thirsty. I'd also like to mention that Data is the only one that goes full in on the vernacular and even accent for his character. Back in Dixon's office, the gang runs into the man who entered when Picard left the first time. His name is Leech, and he's obviously here for nefarious reasons. But everyone's just glad to see him, especially Waylon, who's read the character many times. Leech pulls a gun, and is that a Walther? They all have their hands up as Leech demands an object that Dix was hired to find. Everyone is all smiles. It's all part of the story. The game. They drop their hands and say, screw it. Crusher sits seductively on the desk. Data and Waylon stand like goons, and Dix props his feet on his desk saying, sorry, bub. Waylon tries to get into character and says, you'll never find it, Leech. Now gimme the gun. And Leech shoots him, to applause from Crusher. But Waylon's bleeding, and very confused. It's not supposed to be real. Picard asks how this happened, as the doctor sets to Waylon. Leech says it'll happen again, and Picard slaps the gun away and punches Leech, who runs away crying, and warning Red Block won't like this. More pressing, Crusher says Waylon will die if they can't get to sickbay. Picard calls for the exit, and nothing happens. He tells Data to try the other exit, and okay, at least there's two of them. Still doesn't make complete sense, but we're going with it. No dice on the doors, though. Waylon's dying. The captain is screaming for the exit, and the Harada are expecting the captain. Mary Sue and the Visor are still trying to fix the panel, but more pressing now, Lawrence Tierney is here looking for Mr. Pink and Mr. White. Wait, that's Cyrus Redblock, back with Leech and another goon. Redblock says he doesn't think Dix is foolish enough to hide whatever he wants here, and Picard bluffs that he doesn't assume so. Still, they're going to have a look around. Leech also strikes Dix with his gun, and Picard again has red on his lip. Yet this time, it was nowhere near as fun to obtain. Redblock spouts Newtonian laws and cries for civility, while being a ruthless mob boss. He has a Middle Eastern name with a Native American surname, and he's an old white dude. Odd character to say the least. McNary enters to be disarmed and gut-checked, but Redblock is just fascinated by Data. Picard says Data's not from this world. None of them are. In fact, all of the characters aren't even real. Redblock wants to shoot the crew to prove this theory wrong. If Dix won't give them the item, kill the woman. Picard breaks, telling Redblock he has the item. He not only demands Beverly remain unmolested, but that they also help save Waylon. He doesn't ask them to stop punching McNary, though, which they keep doing. Meanwhile, Riker says screw it, and tries to hail the Harada, just to suffer an ear-splitting frequency for the effort. Wesley tells Riker he can do a soft reset, but it might abort the program, with the potential to atomize everyone inside, and holy shit! That's a thing that can happen in your video game box? That's a huge design flaw. Regardless, Riker orders the kid to do it, and what the fuck? Are y'all serious? Back with Picard, the crew is trying to convince the program that it is a program, when Wes shorts it out for a second, and they end up in a snowy tundra for a moment before glitching back. The door opens, and Picard shows Cyrus the proof, instead of just ending the program and going to work. Redblock wants to go to the other side. Data says it isn't possible. But why? You could take water and lipstick with you. Redblock says kill them all, and dump the bodies when I'm gone. Then takes Leech through the back exit door, and promptly dematerializes. Data grabs the remaining goon's gun, and squishes the barrel with his fingers. Could have done that a long time ago, but whatever. Data also punches the goon out, and takes Waylon to sickbay. Picard wastes even more time placating the emotions of Holo characters, when he really needs to get to the Haradans. Picard tells McNary he wishes he could take him with him. McNary says, I guess this is the big goodbye, and asks if he'll still exist when Picard is gone, if his wife and kids will still be waiting for him at home. And Picard says, I honestly don't know. I love the saxophone here. All of the music in this episode was a treat. McNary sulks into existential despondency, and Picard bids him adieu. The doors shut, and the deck goes dark. We then see Picard entering the bridge in full Dick Tracy cosplay. He opens hailing frequencies, identifies himself, and starts on his greeting in the Holodeck tongue. No script to read. Don't know why he had to learn to read the language. Waste of time and mental stress if you ask me. He grunts out the guttural greeting, and the Holodeckans feel appropriately respected. There will be an ongoing relationship with the Federation now. Everyone cheers, Geordi asks how the story was, and Data waxes noir narration until nixed by the captain. They do their traditional ending of setting coordinates and hitting warp, which the captain always orders by commanding engage. But this time, he flicks his fedora and says, step on it. A fun episode with a few flaws, but they really are nitpicky. I really enjoyed it. Real time. The Big Goodbye, originally airing on January 11th, 1988, was a groundbreaking episode that not only marked a departure from the typical space adventures of the Enterprise crew, but also showcased the series' ability to delve into diverse storytelling realms by introducing audiences to the concept of the holodeck, a revolutionary technology that allowed the crew to create and interact with simulated environments and characters. This narrative device became a staple in subsequent Star Trek series and expanded the storytelling possibilities for the franchise. The episode also served as a platform for character development, especially for Picard. Picard's fascination with Earth's 20th century history, particularly detective novels, was highlighted, revealing his intellectual depth and appreciation for cultural nuances. Obvious homage was paid to the classic noir film genre, with its dark, atmospheric cinematography, morally ambiguous characters, and intricate plot lines. The use of shadow and light, along with the evocative jazz score, effectively transported viewers to a bygone era of crime and intrigue. The meticulous attention to detail in recreating 1940 San Francisco was evident in the episode's production design, from the vintage cars and clothing to the period-appropriate architecture. Every aspect of the setting contributed to the immersive experience of the holodeck simulation. I was impressed by the ensemble cast that delivered standout performances, embodying their respective roles within the narrative. Stewart's portrayal of Picard tapping a suave alter ego showcased his versatility as an actor, while the supporting cast members added depth and authenticity to the story. They explored themes of identity, morality, and the nature of reality, an exploration that resonated with audiences and critics alike. The episode challenged conventional notions of existence and questioned the boundaries between fantasy and reality, a recurring motif throughout the series. The production team faced numerous technical challenges in bringing the holodeck sequences to life, including coordinating complex camera movements, integrating visual effects, and ensuring seamless transitions between the simulated environment and the Enterprise's bridge. The Big Goodbye left a lasting impact on pop culture, inspiring fanfiction, academic analyses, and even interactive experiences such as holodeck simulations in theme parks and video games. Its legacy as a groundbreaking episode continues to influence storytelling in science fiction and beyond, remaining a seminal episode in the Star Trek canon, pushing the boundaries of television storytelling, and setting the stage for future explorations of the human condition through the guise of exploring the cosmos. Its enduring relevance and timeless appeal serve as a testament to the legacy of Roddenberry's vision and the creative talents behind The Next Generation. Oh look, we're here. This is Captain Sedgwick of the shuttlecraft Thea, requesting permission to land.
Permission granted. Please dock at Bay 12.
Do you have one of those worms in you?
No.
Want one? She wants me.